Blog FPV. This is going to be one of my shorter videos. This is an after the boxes open review of the Eachine RedDevil Toothpick style quad here. I had high hopes for this, as I thought it was going to be a upgrade from my Sailfly X Happy model. It's essentially close to the same quad. The frame's a little different. As you can see, the Sailfly X has a little wider frame as far as the struts here. It looks like it might be a little more robust, but in addition to that, the Sailfly X, the flight controller is mounted upside down, where this one isn't. As you can see, the motor connectors come out of the bottom, whereas you can see on the Sailfly X, they actually are coming in through the top here, because the flight controller, all-in-one ESC flight controller, is upside down. The other thing that's a big difference, of course, is the Caddx EOS 2. So overall, I thought, wow, this is definitely going to be an upgrade. They're very similar in weight. The motors are very similar. They are slightly different as far as KV. The RedDevil is 8700 and the Sailfly X is 8500, and we'll talk a little bit about that later. But unfortunately, after flying this, the flight characteristics were substantially different, which was a real head scratcher for me, and it baffled me. I used the same exact filters, same pits. I mean, these are almost identical in weight. They use the same props. So I was really struggling with the RedDevil to get it tuned properly. I tried the stock tune with the stock filters. I tried, again, like I was saying, that my Sailfly X PIDs and filter settings. That didn't seem to help on 3S. And then I used the community presets, and then I started adjusting from there. The problem was I was getting really strange prop noise, like you're overdriving the props. And then that started me wondering, this is conjecture, what's going on with the slightly higher KV motors. They seem to be almost like they're labeled wrong, like they're actually even higher than 8700. Maybe I got a set of motors that are labeled 8700 and they're really 10,000 kV motors. I don't know, but it definitely felt like it was pushing the props. Even after I put in a throttle limit, set it to 75%, that helped a little bit. But all in all, the thing seemed to fly better on 2S. So I was really struggling with this. And in fact, I ended up losing a motor. This one right here, I isolated it to the motor and not the ESC. So I definitely think there's something going on. Maybe I got a bad batch of motors, I don't know, from a lot that maybe was labeled wrong. But it really sounded way different. Now I'll show you some flight footage of what I was experiencing, and also the failure on one of the motors that I had. But overall, I was pretty disappointed, and again, it's baffling to me because these two quads are so similar. So why don't I go ahead and go through what I think the pros of the RedDevil are. Of course, it's lightweight, like the Sailfly X. I think the Caddx EOS camera is significantly better. Another pro is, I like that it has a 200 milliwatt selectable VTX. Now, of course, with the limitation of the receiver, the SPI receiver, it really doesn't do you much good, because your video feed will get you out a lot farther than your receiver can get you. So that could be a pro if you put on let's say an XM Plus on this thing, or just an XM receiver. So that's a definite pro on this. It does have the adjustable camera angle on it, and it does support smart audio. And then also the price is reasonable on this. I actually got it on sale for $86, which was real close to the price of the Sailfly X. Now I think right now it's listing for $92, but so the price on this thing is reasonable with all the components. But the cons of this thing is, and I was getting a lot of jello obviously in this camera with the current setup, even with the tie wraps added on here. It has a lot of jello in the camera feed, so that's a con. Also, I'm very concerned about the reliability of the motors, given that I lost one motor. And like I was saying earlier, I'm just really questioning as to whether or not these are really 8700 kV motors, or maybe these 8500 kV motors are actually lower than that, but they definitely fly different for some reason for me. And I really like my Sailfly X. So I know other reviewers have liked this model, but my experience with the motor failing and the way it acts like the motor kV is too high, I really cannot recommend this one. So actually what's going to happen with this model, I'm going to go ahead and put the electronics in this Primo 80X frame that I have. I'm going to go ahead and use the Sailfly X, have an extra set of these, and try that out. And I might not stay with these bi-blade props. I use the Pyrodrone props on this as well because they're a little stiffer than the stock props, in hopes that I wouldn't get so much flex on 3S, but that it helped a little bit, but not a whole lot. So that's what I'm going to be doing next, and I'll report back on how well that flies, and I'll show you my build. And with that, I'll go ahead and leave you with a short 2S flight that I had, and you can make your own decision on this. So again, I greatly appreciate you watching.